We are ready to go. Here we go. It is Tuesday, Triumph Tuesday. How's everyone doing? This is Carol Sue, aka Naughty Boss, live with two
Sisters. Hey, good evening, everyone. It's Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0. Just can't seem to get the lighting right. I'll figure it out at some point. I saw some gadgets online today that go around the computer, and I think I might have to invest in that. But anyways, you know, we don't let that stop us. So Triumph Tuesday, you know, is always such a good day. What any day is a good day to reflect on those goals or those items that you've, you know, checked off on your list, those goals that you've met. And what are you doing over there?
I was actually just checking my bracelet because it seemed like there was a little mark on it. It's my compass bracelet. You know, I always got to make sure your compass is in that direction. So I happened to notice that because of the lighting that looked like there was something sticky on it. So yes, it's Triumph Tuesday. And that's kind of where you may have gotten out of your comfort zone and you may have to try something new that you were kind of nervous about doing, and you got over that feeling and you triumphed over it. Maybe it was you've been procrastinating a lot. How many of you do that? I know you do it because sometimes we do it, right? So it's part of life. You procrastinate about something that you have intentions of doing, but then somehow excuses get in the way and you don't do them. And then all of a sudden you're like, nope, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to dive right in. And you feel better because even though it might have taken you out of your comfort zone, even it may have taken you out of rhythm, maybe it's really put you in a precarious situation where you're like, how am I going to do this? But you end up triumphing over it. And it's a good feeling because usually that's when we always say when you triumph over something, it doesn't have to be this huge thing, it could be something small. But when you triumph over something, whatever it may be, you actually get a piece of more growth within yourself because maybe you're proving a point. Maybe when I say proving a point to yourself that you could do it. So we often, you know, we chat about that because you want to embrace those things because it takes courage to step out of your zone. So I had actually two things this week, which actually were up to this point of the week. And the first one was, I always talk about playing pickleball, right? So there is a north side and a south side. So the south side is generally for beginners and intermediates. You have some that are a little more like intermediate to, you know, that next level, but they prefer to play over there because it's a little bit more relaxed, more fun, still competitive, but there's more shits and giggles. On the north side, it's a lot more competitive because you have a lot of pros playing over there. You have serious pickleball players. So we always joke about the north versus the south. A lot of times if there's couples playing, sometimes one of them plays on one side, one of them plays on the other, which in our case, John plays on the north side. Go figure. Anywho, so three friends of mine and myself decided, well, let's jump into the north side now that we knew we had four. And then at one point we got down to two and we actually played with some very, very good players. So that can be a scary thing because you're going over there, you feel a little intimidated because their skills are, for the most part, most of them are point on with their skill level. So it's a little nerve wracking. And I didn't think I would ever actually play over there, but I did. And I'm glad that I kind of got over that hump and I triumphed over that feeling of inadequacy because, you know, different play level, they're up here. And the way pickleball works is you're ranked. I don't know what the lowest rank is, maybe a 2, 2.5, but usually on our side, it's, you know, up to 3.0 and the north side, it goes higher. So as you can imagine, it can be a little intimidating, but it was intimidating, but I did it. So I was proud of myself. The second thing was really addressing an issue. See, you know, when you try over something, it may not necessarily be something physical that you have to do. Maybe it's mental, right? And a lot of times, mostly triumphing over something has to do with your mental anyways. So what happened was obviously, you know, we've chatted from time to time about what's going on in a particular district with the school committee curriculum. I'm not going to get into all of that, but there are two students that frequently call out the group of parents and grandparents and business owners that I'm connected to, and have actually made, they're giving more of their opinion, not factual information, but there was a lot of going back and forth on social media that had to do with it. One had to do with one email that I sent, which is a public record, which content I firmly and 1,000 times over support. The other, the assertion, because it was put in with the same public record that they were sharing. So the assertion was this other email could have been maybe from me or the group. And it actually is a hoax email that has been going around the country for, I don't know if it's been a year, but at least it's 2021, where it smears parents groups. And it is a fake email. It's a racist email. It's a horrible email. So this email was supposedly, we're still waiting on verification, was supposedly sent to the school committee. And so here the assertion is that either I did it or the group did it. So you can imagine the hate that came with that. And I waited, this was on a town, what I call a town crier type of page. It's supposed to be about what's going on in the area, you know, sharing different things that are happening. Instead, it's turned into this disinformation on some things, not on everything, but we're, you know, there's an election coming up May 2nd, 7th. So it's getting a little, you know, kooky, which is like a small potatoes to compare to what goes on nationally, but it's pretty intense. Anywho, I waited, and I had a lot of the group saying, you really have got to address the issue. Now, I could have addressed the issue right on that particular public page, and I decided I was not going to do that for various reasons. Because I didn't want to keep stirring the pot. I'm very postured in my beliefs of what I do and what I don't do. So I really thought about it, and I had to really discern whether this was something I wanted to address. And if I was going to address it, was I going to address it on my personal page, or was I going to go to and make it public so people could see it, which I ended up doing, or put it on this other particular page. And I chose not to, because they did two pieces. They did a letter to the editor, and these are an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old, I might add. Whoops, my battery is about to die. That is not good, Jen.
Get your charger.
I know. All right, so keep chatting. I got to go get my charger.
So what are you triumphing over today? Well, you know, we have an amazing lineup of guests going on. So I've been doing like our pre-podcast interviews, and we have an amazing guest on tomorrow morning, Pamela, and we can't wait for you to meet her. And Thursday evening, Trending Thursday at Night, we also have a guest, and she's a very dear friend of mine, Wendy. We are also, I know her, let me back up a little bit. I first met her when I did my 16th co-authored project. She was one of the co-authors on that project. So she will be with us on Thursday, Trending Thursday at Night. I was just going over our guests for this week. We have actually two.
Cool.
Pamela tomorrow morning, and then Wendy Thursday evening. And just an amazing lineup of guests. And one guest I spoke with last night, who is 16 hours ahead of us. She's from New Zealand. Oh my God, she's wonderful. She's such a sweet lady. Can't wait for you.
This is so much fun. I'm trying to read over this as we're speaking. I got to get another charger. This one's not working.
Oh Lordy. So when you see the social media graphics for that, it says Thursday, June 16th, 7:30 p.m. And then Friday in the different color, Friday, June 17th, 11:30 a.m. NZT, which is New Zealand time. So had such an amazing conversation with her. A lot of great guests coming up. And you never know, you just never know who you're going to meet. We had a really amazing turnout of applications that came in. I don't know. I just think it's so exciting to meet all these guests from all over the world. So that's what
I
I
know,
would.
that's so cool. I love that because it adds so much variety. I am back. I was down to literally 1%. I've been on my phone nonstop, so I didn't even double check that. Normally I'm pretty good about making sure that my battery's charged. And normally I'm not even on my phone. When we do this, I'm normally on the computer, but the internet has been really weird, which, speaking of triumphing over something, a lot of people have been chatting about that specifically, that the internet has been very weird across the United States. A lot of people have a lot of outages. And it wasn't until they said something that I noticed that. What I noticed was especially if I'm on my phone, it'll keep going, reconnected to internet. I'm like, did I ever lose it? But it's been going in and out. So there is, some kookiness going on with that nonsense. But anyways, back to real quick, just to wrap that particular piece up. I ended up posting something on my personal page. I was very happy to see the 2 students did apologize. They stand by a lot of what they did, but they at least apologized. I'm hoping they called out a representative, so I'm hoping, and the 3 of the candidates that are running. So I'm hoping that they will do the right thing and also apologize to the representative and as well as the candidates that are running. It's okay to have difference of opinions. It's okay. And the big piece too, what we were kind of, I would say, debating would be, they feel that myself and the group have been too hard on the school committee. They feel that some of our emails are very strong, and they're absolutely right. They are very strong. They are elected officials. And the sad piece too is when you post a public record without the backstory, it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. So what they did was they posted an October 1st response email that I responded to from the school committee. But you don't hear the backstory, which is 4 months in the making of going to meetings, corresponding with this particular school committee, and really getting nowhere. So definitely was a frustrating email. And, it is what it is. A lot of people think it's not okay to make elected officials accountable. That was never the case. But the fact remains that parents and grandparents and stakeholders do not want to be pushed out of the picture. And what's happening is a lot of this curriculum, this what I call new curriculum, if you want to call it that, is really a piece to the heart and soul of it. Is putting a wedge between the parent and the child. So it's kind of removing the parent from the situation with a lot of what we call grooming of a child. Now, a lot of people, when they hear the word grooming, they automatically think of sexual connotations, which that is true. That is a part of it. But grooming is when you, and a lot of administrators and some teachers, not all, because we've got some wonderful teachers in this district, those that are pushing a political ideology, a certain type of sexual lifestyle, information that they want to be with that child, meaning, having that confidence and that relationship with that child, unbeknownst to the parent. That is what grooming is. So it's not just the sexual piece to it. It could be a political ideology, but it basically what it does is it takes the parent away from parenting. So you can imagine there are a lot of parents that are like, and I think what happened was across the United States, a lot of people don't realize that, is when the pandemic initially happened, and children had to be homeschooled, a lot of parents had a triumph over, like, how do we balance this? They're now going to be homeschooling. Guess what? My corporation's closed down, or what I do, and now I'm working out of the house. So there was a big balance and a lot of triumphing over how we're going to make this work. But what the insight that was given to the parents was an insight into that child and their curriculum. And what a lot of parents saw, they weren't too happy with. And it's continued across the United States. So that's pretty much that in a nutshell. There's some disagreements there, but I am hopeful that the students learned a valuable lesson, because with this particular hoax email, you've, asserted that it came from an individual, and, there was damage done. There was a lot of the public going back and forth, a lot of name calling. I wasn't involved with that. I didn't even comment on the post, but obviously, I was in the middle of all of that, and having to answer to some people saying, my God, why would you would never write a racist email like that. And I said, no, it's not my email. And they said, well, we didn't necessarily pin it to you. And when I tried to explain them, the assertion was there because it was part of the post of the public record of mine that you did post.
Mhm.
So anyone reading that would assume that either I was the author of that email as well, which is not even my verbiage, and you could tell right off the bat, or someone from the Charlton Dudley United group that is a bunch of parents, grandparents, business stakeholders that have an interest in their child or their grandchild or their relatives' education within the public system. The other piece to it, which was the sad piece to it, is there was a person from Charlton that equated our group, and the description they gave was the description of the KKK. As you can imagine, a lot of people were distraught over that. That goes, I was speechless when I first saw the post, that you would actually label a parents group, part of the KKK. And again, there was that assertion. And for that person, I think my only response would be, because it was so like below the, you have like how low will you go, and you've got to triumph over when somebody goes low, that. And when you combat somebody going low by going higher, and then when they dig even lower, you work your way even higher to triumph over that feeling. This person went to the bottom of the barrel, and it wasn't a question that I had to go higher. My comment to that piece was, I'll just pray for you, because I'm not going to fight hate towards me with more hate. That serves no purpose, that adds no value. So in that regard, I triumphed over two big things, I think, this week.
Well, that's amazing. And I think with, what I can say about that is, if we just stop to ask the question instead of lashing out, hey, did you really send that email? I'm a little bit confused. Like, why not approach it in such a way where you carry yourself with dignity, not knowing perhaps all the facts. Maybe you see it and it's presented in such a way where it looks like it's something else. And this is where, in the digital age, this is what I don't like about the digital age, because the information is just so quick. Nobody has time to consume it and check out the facts. And I wonder, a sidebar to that is a certain media platform. Why is it that, and I'm asking myself this question, as I was waiting for you to sign up on, why is it that a group of people are flipping out over this particular social media platform? And I've done, in between things today, I kind of poking around and doing some research myself. And, you have to wonder, like, why is that? And
I find it even more precarious when you get to that situation and you think about, what is the motive behind, and do people, when they're in that, what I call panic mode, where they think something of value or something's going to be taken away from what they know, whether it's an ideology, whether it's whatever it may be, but you actually describe what you've already done to the, say, the opposing side. So one of the arguments today was that, and I don't know what news media outlet, I just heard it like, like 3 or 4 minutes, but they were describing an anchorman report or whatever, describing what his interpretation of what was going to be. And it was, oh my God, you're going to dial down a certain political affiliation and dial up and make sure, the algorithms are up for that. And then you're going to suppress, those that don't agree. And I'm like, so they were actually describing what has been done really to the American people for the last 2 years. So I thought that was, or actually 3 years. I thought that was quite, there was a little hypocrisy with that. In
Yeah.
other words,
And
we've done that, but we don't want you to do that. I don't, again, with this acquisition, I think at the end of the day, people just want to get back to, let freedom speech ring. And I really thought it was very astute of him to come out and say, I hope those that don't agree with me or basically my enemies don't kind of delete their account. That's what free speech is all about, that you hear. I mean, obviously there's certain things from a legality standpoint that, like a terrorist or those kinds of things, you need to make sure that social media is on top of that as well. But we're not talking about those kinds of situations. We're just talking about getting the news out. And I believe they did a percentage of how many, I want to say it was like in the 90%, 93% employees are one political party and a smaller amount is the other. So they're the larger amounts thinking, oh, they're going to get rid of us because of who we are. From what I understand, they are guaranteed their jobs for 6 months because the acquisition is going to take that long to actually go through. So, the bottom line is we hope that everyone can triumph over these social media, because we're going into another election cycle. And being that I've had a small taste of what goes on, and then when I say small taste, a small taste of what goes on in those types of arenas, what I can say is, if you're the one that's, being attacked or whatever, take the high road. There's no sense of going back and forth. And that doesn't mean that you don't address it. So the way I addressed it was I made a statement, which was already typed out with a header. And, I stand by that. Sadly, at the end of the day, what we always talk about and what we triumph over all the time, and we're hoping all our listeners and viewers triumph all the time, is remembering two things. Well, actually, it's 4 things when you think about it. You can't control the way somebody acts, and you can't control how the way somebody reacts. But the 2 things that you hold dear to your heart is the way that you act and how you react to something. So always keep that in the forefront of when you're in these kind of engagements or controversies or, these icky situations, because it can get pretty icky. I had a few sleepless nights over it, but at the end of the day, I was very postured in my beliefs, and I did not back down. It's okay to disagree. And, I want them as an 18 and 19-year-old to understand that you cannot understand what it's like to be a parent, nor should you at your tender age of 18 or 19. You still have a lot of maturity. You still got your college ahead of you, that you're both of them are first-year students, and they are bright young men, very articulate young men. But to argue the point from a parent's perspective, and when the parent or the grandparent or the stakeholder is asking those tough questions, if they feel that that child is in danger, Mama Bear comes out, and they're they're not in that shoes. They're not in that mindset yet, because they're not even 2 years old yet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure that they're very bright young men. I hope they learned a valuable lesson. And if they are listening, I hope that you do. You did a brave thing by apologizing, but I hope that you apologize to the candidates. I hope you apologize to the group as a whole, and I hope you apologize to the representative that you made some not so nice comments about either.
That's, yeah, and I hope that it's so. That it was done with integrity and the utmost respect for the situation, because we can only control how we feel, and for every action there's a reaction. And and we learn as we gracefully age. We learn as we mature. We learn from good experiences, bad experiences, indifferences. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Right. And there'll be a lot of triumphs, especially at the age of 18 and 19, different life experiences that are going to take you through these mountains and valleys of, ups and downs and whatnot. And I did end it with that with them. I said, at 64 years old, I'm still open to learning, and that never goes away. You never want to shut off that mind, because your mindset and learning is a way to keep your mind sharp. But the lessons that you got to learn is that sometimes you may be giving your opinions. You can't blur opinions against facts. And with this particular hoax email, it took only 2 or 3 minutes of investigating for it to pop up. And it's been presented in several states already. And it's a hoax email. To their defense, they did say, and this is, I guess, the puzzling piece to it, is that a sitting school committee member was the one who posted it, and that's where they got the information from, and then they posted it with what they were posting about me.
Mhm.
And the sitting school committee member stated that she double checked and shared it, and so again, you would think that a sitting school committee member should have checked it more thoroughly, because sadly, when you post things like that and you don't double check them, there's been a lot of damage, a lot of hurt feelings that have been caused, and there's consequences for those kinds of things. And then hopefully that's what they learned.
Yeah, hopefully that is exactly what they learned.
Yeah.
That's what triumphing is all about. Getting to the bottom of something, especially in this day and age, is not always easy. And, if you have questions or you're questioning someone, do it in such a way where, we always say, we appreciate and we respect opposing viewpoints. And we do. Is it hard when that same opportunity is not afforded to us? Yes, it is. But that's when, as you said, Carol, so you got to step up, they hit low, you go higher.
You go higher, and right. And it doesn't mean that people can't question things and that it's going to get heated, especially if you're dealing with people that are making decisions in your children's or your grandchildren's life. That's going to occur. The sad thing about all of that is throughout the last, 11 months, that was really a big part of when I would do a presentation before them. I said, look at, parents want to partner with you, grandparents want to partner with you, meaning the school committee and the administration. Communities want to do it, but you can't keep stonewalling. You've got to answer these hard questions. And sadly, there was a lot of passing of the buck. Not on all. There have been a couple of the school committee members that have been forthright in answer questions, but sadly, what happens is when they're together, they're voting and they're not, really taking into consideration the majority. People get frustrated. It does happen. So it doesn't mean that you can't ask those hard questions. At the end of the day, when you're dealing with an elected official, sometimes the questions are hard. I will agree to that, but they don't have to be that hard if you heeded the definite recommendation over the last 11 months was to work with the parents. They didn't want to do that. And now, again, I'm not going to say that as a whole, because there are definitely some good people in the system. And I think at the end of the day, they're all very nice people. I've said that several times as well. But, in their professional role, Sadly, you've got to, keep your biases to the side. That's hard to do in any, because everyone has biases. We all know that. But at the end of the day, you've got to triumph over what is the best way. And it's not always easy. And sometimes it's not going to always turn out the way you want. Or sometimes you're going to stick your foot in your mouth. We all do it. We're all human. But at the end of the day, we hope that people can learn. And I did accept their apology for me. I thought it was sincere, and I hope it was. And I'm moving forward, and I hope a lot of people are still waiting for that apology. I've gotten a lot of emails on that, like, when are they going to apologize? I can't answer that. I'm not in their shoes, but I hope they do. I hope they do the right thing. And that's sometimes when you have to make that decision to do the right thing, that's a huge triumph, because you're putting yourself out there. And that could be a scary thing. But once you get through that, it's a blessing.
Yeah, that is so true. Wow. Wow. So Triumph Tuesday, just a reminder to everyone, we will be on tomorrow morning. We have a guest on, and I did mention her name, Pamela. Oh, she's what a little sweetheart. And then Thursday night we have Wendy. So we've got a busy week planned for you. And on that note, what are you triumphing over? What is something that, you checked it off your list today and you were like, damn, I did really good. Those are the kind of things that we love to chat about. And go to our website and leave us a voicemail. We would love to hear from you. Are you from the Charlton Dudley School District? Go to our website, leave us a voicemail, and we promise we will get back to you. On that note, on this Triumph Tuesday at night with Two Sisters, my name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I am with Two
Sisters, and this is Carol Sue, aka Naughty Bus, live from Vero Beach. Going to be heading up north soon, so I'm super excited about that. We will see you tomorrow. As Jan said, she gave you a little inkling of our guests, so that's going to be exciting. Whatever you are triumphing over, know that even if it's a huge mountain you got to climb, or if it's just a puddle you got to go through, do it, because the growth will come and you will feel so much better knowing that you did. Because guess what? You take that triumph, you write it down, because on Fantabulous Friday, you're going to be patting yourself on the back. Good night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.